Hello and welcome to UPRN 107.7 FM Friday night. It's the host chat show and it's the Centralist here. We have there tonight with politics there tonight with our round the horn guests here. We got myself, the Dell here from the Delicious Recipe that's usually on Tuesday nights. And we got Mike Langley. Tell them about you.
Me, I'm just sitting here writing that song. Joe Biden's on crack, man. Hold on a minute. I'm gonna put some bass line. What do you think?
I love
Let's
it.
make some music tonight.
Right
on.
awesome.
Joe Biden's on crack. He's really whacked. Kamala's on crack. She's really whacked. That's all I'm gonna say. That's the whole song right there. He fell down.
Not once, but 3 times.
There we go. And we also got Laura Lee from the Angel Rock.
Yes, from the Angel Rock and from Tripping the Void. Hi, everybody. Michael has the red pill. You've got red pill.
Red Pill News, Discovery Paranormal.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, you guys get a lot. You guys get a lot of us, and this is our host chat that we have. We have Monday nights for paranormal. Friday nights are the Centralist. That's Joe's show, and he includes us all. Our panel show. We talk. Just remind you guys. I'm taking over for Del here quickly, but just remind you guys because we're on StreamYard. You can find us on Facebook on the UPRN page. You can find us on both our YouTube channels, UFO Paranormal as well as UPRN. We're on Periscope, I believe, till March 31st. We're on Twitch, UFO Paranormal. Did I forget anything, guys?
No, we didn't. And we got also our host of the Centralist, Joe Montaldo. And I guess tonight there we're going to be talking about the wonders of Joe Biden and the Harris DNC conglomeration.
Yes.
You don't even know
The new emperor and empress of the earth.
Is Harris the president or is Biden the president? I don't know. We seem to have a lot of mix-ups there in speeches that go on. We've had recently Joe Biden give his first speech in 60-something days. We have a crisis at the border of Mexico and the U.S. We have really changes into the military about making equal opportunity for military personnel in, I guess what you'd say would be their what's that training they have to do, their minimum standards. That's going on.
Drinking. They got to drink like a whole bottle of Jack Daniels. Isn't that like the minimum?
Yeah, there you go.
I think that's the minimum.
But
I could go for a bottle of JD right now. You know, I actually had a cat named JD Champagne. So
love it.
Jack Daniels. Well, his last, well, his name was Champagne because his mama was a grand champion, but his name was JD because I used to love to drink that Jack Daniels, man. I put some in my coffee right now. I'd be a happy camper.
Jackie Jack.
But getting to our
you don't like Southern Comfort, man. You're more Southern Comfort area right there.
No, man. We're Jack
Daniels, Narlands?
No, ain't no Southern Comfort drink because it's too sweet of a drink.
Cough syrup.
Look, I invented the slow screw. You know, they had the Southern screw. Well, the slow Southern screw is what we invented because it's Southern Comfort and orange juice versus the slow gin screw, which is just that is just nasty. I don't think anybody drink that nasty.
I invented the power screw. That's just vodka.
I like it.
Straight.
Vodka is the easiest alcohol on the planet to drink. If you can't drink vodka, you should never drink anything.
It's good to mix with. I mean, you can mix it.
Drink it straight. Don't matter. Vodka is one of the most non-offensive alcohols there is. Most people are not asses when they're on it either.
You ever take cherry tomatoes and like take the skin off, you blanch them, and then soak them in vodka for like 8 hours, man? You know?
No, but we used to fill watermelons up.
Drunken tomato.
Watermelon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we take some 151, like one of them, one vodka, and fill damn watermelon up. Just throw it in the river, man. Plug it up, put it in the river.
Well, Del was saying a watermelon, and I bought this for camp. You guys got to come up to Canada and check out Del's cottage. You probably won't want to leave. It's so amazing.
Are we allowed? Like, can we come over the border now?
And anyway, getting.
I mentioned the watermelon quickly because I found a tap that you actually put in there with all these different spouts. So we're gonna We're gonna have some drunken watermelon this year at camp.
Yeah, watermelon's good. But anyway, getting on a more serious topic, because I see I'm getting hit with emails. You bunch of weirdos. Let me move this out of the way. So I don't know how many of y'all called Uncle Cracker the other day. And that's his new name now, Uncle Cracker, because he sounded like a cracker to me the other day. I'm thinking anybody who votes for Joe Biden and thinks he's not a racist cracker simply just doesn't know what racism is. This guy's beyond racist.
Joe, he's
Joe
from
the
that
Cracker
era.
died, man.
He's from that era, man. He's that old white guy in America. I mean,
well,
you think these fruity guys, I was watching this commercial for some investment thing. They're going after young people. Everyone in the commercial looks like a junkie, by the way. And then there's a guy who's like really effeminate and hopping around. You think Joe Biden's into a dude like that? He's there. So that whole generation, all those people that thought they mattered when Trump was in there, really don't matter. There's just the Democrats used him to throw at Trump. And now, since they don't need him anymore, he's abandoning all of them. And I think it's very interesting what's going on. Very telling.
I got a thing there I was thinking about with Joe Biden and Harris and the DNC. Their theme song should be Shaggy. It wasn't me.
Yes.
Oh, I know. That's a good one, because that is him, man. That's everything. That whole speech yesterday. Oh, no, it's not our fault. It's Trump. No. Oh, wait, what happened? Border price? No, that's Trump. Oh, wait, gas prices? No, that's Trump. Economy? No, that's Trump. I'm thinking, dude, what the hell, dude? Are you not going to take any responsibility for anything you've done? I mean, I don't mind them blaming it. All administrations blame the prior administration. I don't really have a problem with that so much. But, I mean, Jesus, dude, you created the border situation. You're the one who drove the gas prices up. They were on their way down. I mean, we were at $1.50 when idiot took over. Now we are almost $2.75. I'm like,
I just paid $3.09 for freaking.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, like mid grade. I mean, that's
gas
crazy.
is up. I mean, food's up about 30%. Shit. So at the beginning of last year, a 2x4 down here was $1.99. And this is for a regular 2x4. They're not pressure treated another. They're $6.99 right now. I'm like, you got to be shitting me.
Wow.
When I go talk to a customer about materials, they look at me like I'm on crack. I said, you can go look it for yourself. I said, here, go look at any of the companies we do business with. We're not even making money on materials because you can't. There's nothing there to be made. It's just all of this is crazy. And then I'm listening to him so I'm so confused about this deal with China and him in Alaska. I have heard so many different accounts of this that to me it's just confusing that our media and China's media and our leaders can be that dysfunctional with each other. So basically China said Xing came over, Xinping shithead. I mean Xinping nice guy came over, and we don't want to get thrown at it. China, we love you, Ping. He came over and basically told Biden, you're a little, you know what, you're going to be our little bitch, and this is how it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And, Biden, some people said he stood up. Some people say he just ignored them because, China's not really a threat to us. We're more of a threat to them. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, okay, first off, dude, if you're going to have a meeting with Ping, this should have been public everywhere. Everybody should have known what was going on, what this was going to be discussed about, what kind of things were on the table, what weren't. I mean, Biden's already said he's not removing, for a guy who hates Trump, he's not removing any of Trump's sanctions on any countries, not just China. And he's actually talking about adding some. I'm like, okay, dude, he's not getting rid of Space Force. He's actually going to give more money to it. So obviously there's things that go on that we don't know about, because if he's going to back any kind of Trump policy, it's got to be something serious.
But Joe, it's actually like you said, is that Biden was going to come in all headstrong like that because now it's his time to shine. Mm-hmm. He's going to show other people up, Obama and whatever from the past. And those old Democrats are hardliners, man. They're more Republican than the new Democrats.
They definitely are. They're at least in the center more
conservative. Yeah, I mean, think of Bill Clinton. I mean, he looks like a Republican compared to a lot of these Democrats now, man. He looks like a straight up conservative for the way he ran his administration. But
compared to these morons, we got communists today.
Yeah,
no, I don't think. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
I don't think Kamala's that far behind. I think she's pretty much of a hardliner too. I mean, she put a lot of people in jail. She was a prosecutor, so I think people are sorely mistaken if they think that these guys are going to be weak. But I don't know, man.
Well, you know what I said? This sounds crazy, I know. But watching that last night, I kept saying to Del, did they let the real Joe out? Like, he looked like the old Joe. Like, he looked like the normal Joe. He looked there. I had a hard time watching him.
Because sometimes they have to, because there does seem to be something. I've seen enough videos of him. Sometimes he looks like his skin had been stretched or something. It's weird looking, and I don't know if they're like piling on makeup, which is possible. I mean, but there's something funny looking about him. And then you see JoJo to come out. Now he looked like Joe Biden. He sounded like Joe Biden's an asshole.
He did. His eyes.
So
like
his whole career, his whole 50 years in politics has been hardline. He's put more black people in jail, with the exception of Kamala Harris, than anybody else in the country ever has because of his laws. The two of them are probably responsible for 2/3 of every black person in jail today. And somehow or another, they convinced blacks to vote for him. I was like, wait, what? I just had an issue with that. And then I seen, Trump pulled like almost 1/3 of the black vote. And I'm like, well, how the hell could he lose? He pulled a big Hispanic. He broke records in all areas and still lost. I've never heard of that ever in my entire life. And it's not like I voted for the guy. So, I mean, it's and to part of old English saying, I really don't have any dog in this. I mean, any dog in this hunt. But it made me feel like the whole thing just still feels bad. And now the appeals courts are overturning. You got 3 states now that say, oh no, what they did was illegal and you can't count them votes, but it's not going to matter because it's not going to change anything. We're not this far out. We're not going to go back and remove Joe Biden and put Trump. It'll never happen.
And to Cuomo now, all of a sudden, what is it, Michael? I was reading about this today about New York's now legalizing marijuana. And all this other stuff. Like perfect time to hit him up with this stuff, right? With the trouble he's in.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, they were talking about the GOP especially has been talking about flipping New York. With the show they had out in Red last time, and so many blues leaving and moving, and it's hurting the liberals because that's why the Democrats are in such a huff to get a bunch of new people in, because right now the liberal community, with the exception of maybe Georgia, is diversifying and spreading out, and they're going to places like Ohio where it's red and parts of Florida where it's red, and it's not going to be enough to change those votes. And some of them may even flip, because when you get to places like Florida, one of my really good liberal friends, who's not liberal anymore, he's a centralist now, but we got to talking one day. He said, Joe, he said, I'm living in Florida. He said, these people got the life. They know what the hell they're talking about. They got a great state, great medical, great everything. He said, in New York sucked. And he just went on, and then he just realized it wasn't New York itself. It wasn't the people in New York. It was simply the politicians. And he realized there's a big difference between because especially the southern states, they're more relaxed states to start off with. We don't have to be uptight like New York or Chicago. Poor Chicago. The only city I know that kills as many people as Chicago is New Orleans. I mean, unfortunately, these two cities are on rampage, killing people left and right. Even New York don't keep pace with these two cities. But they all three have one thing in common. They're blue cities. And I would love to see a Republican mayor take New York, just because I hate de Blasio. There's something about this guy I just cannot stand, man.
He's gone anyway, though. And New York did have.
I bet he smells bad. Oh, they did Giuliani, and he turned out to be a nut job.
And the state,
Giuliani, I love you. Don't get on my ass. Laura Lee said that.
We had Pataki for a while too in New York State as governor. So I mean, it does go back and forth. It really depends on who, But that's the thing. Nobody good ran against Cuomo, but now he's got these issues. He keeps saying he's not going to step down. And that bridge he built under budget, under time, that they say could collapse at any minute, named after his father, figures. Mario Cuomo was like that. He could collapse any minute. You know what I mean? Like after they built the bridge, they found all these bolts broken off, and then the engineers we've got to fix this. And then the administration said, don't worry about it. But I mean, I know that bridge. I've never driven over it, but I know the Tappan Zee Bridge in that area. You have bumper-to-bumper traffic, tractor-trailers, all that, a lot of heavy weight on that bridge just inching along, sometimes just not inching along. A lot of weight over the Hudson River, a lot of wind. You put that combination on a real hot day, 95, 100 degrees, when that metal expands, boom, that thing will collapse. And then all those people will probably die. And then who's going to get the blame? You know who's going to get the blame? The taxpayers are going to pay the bill when people sue, because these politicians never do. They get to skate. So sad, though, isn't it?
Well, only the big politicians get to skate.
But again, but let's talk about age. Cuomo's from an era where all that, grab your hand, making a proposition to a woman was widely acceptable. Women liked it. Guys liked it. I mean, maybe if some people were offended, they could freaking walk away. But now you can't say anything to anybody about anything without people saying, oh, it's offensive. And oh my God, But I went through the New York State training for what's workplace offensive and whatever. He didn't. Because all the stuff he does is in that training. So.
Yeah, because he can't help himself. Philip, actually, man, all the southern states now have legal pot, dude. I don't know where you've been, man. You thinking back 30 years ago or something. Even Mississippi decided to get it, which I'm still shocked about.
Men used to kiss
shocked.
women's hands. You know what I mean? I mean, it was more of a respectful thing. It wasn't some sexual gesture.
Well, but you know what? Now, back in the day, I can honestly say I've kissed many women's hand over the years. And today that would be no. I mean that would be a no.
But why is it a no? Why is it? Why is it like that?
Because
why is it
because 3 women out of 100 think it's offensive. So
right, 3 women out of 100. Just like they let transsexuals compete in sports against, like transsexual men against.
They're gonna have to fix that. I have no problem with people being transsexual, but you can't let this 280-pound guy dressed up like a woman go wrestle this little 90-pound girl. It just doesn't seem fair.
There's a YouTuber out there by the name of Blair White, and she's actually transgender. She's transgender female. She doesn't agree with this. She's not well liked because she's more right leaning than left. But I thought she had a great suggestion because, like, how are you going to handle this? Because like Del and I have had this conversation many times about sports, and I don't know if this is the solution. But she said they're going to have to do something because she was talking about somebody who used to be a man, now features himself as a woman and is in MMA, and he's fracturing women's skulls. Fracturing women's skulls.
Ouch.
So what she suggested was, if they're going to do sports, if somebody has transitioned before puberty, which means then they haven't had all that testosterone, then fine, carry on. But if you were already living life as a full-grown man and you've gone through puberty and you've got all that bone and muscle mass, no, then you stay with the men
because it's only fair. And if you're a good wrestler, it don't matter.
I thought that was fair. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't see no problem with that.
Well, this is what you have to do. Either you keep the class system in, where you keep segregation in, or you remove it all. So then this is the thing though. But they don't see, people want to cherry pick and they want the best of everything, and you can't have that. So either you have to go and say, this is the division for people that have transitioned, have been whatever, and this is for males and this is for females, or you just leave it open competition. And this is the reason they don't do this, is because if they had it like that, it wouldn't be fair for everybody, right? Then the whole thing about the Olympics, you don't have women's sports and men's sports and transitional, you just have one. But then they're going to have the whole group saying, well, we can't compete them, we can't compete with them. So this is the craziness. So you get these little parties that want to push these little political little games, and that says, okay, now you have to allow us to have transitioned men that are women now fight with women, and then you go, well, then you have another group that's upset with it. So the best way is to just wipe it off the board. Like, you figure, how much money does the women's NBA make compared to the NBA? People don't want to watch it. If you have another
$50,
you have transitioned athletes playing in another thing. How many people are actually going to watch that and make money? See, everything comes down to dollars and cents.
Are you saying girl sports are a joke?
Okay.
Wait, now y'all give me a shot here. What the hell is that shit?
And I was the only girl the guys would let play with.
When it comes to money,
I used to say, you know what? If you knock me to the ground, you knock me to the ground. I'm not playing as a girl. If I'm going to play with the boys, I'm going to have to take a couple hits. But I can tell you right now, I don't care how good a woman is, just physically, you're never going to get that hang time. You're never going to get the speed. You're never going to get any of that. There's a reason why there's differences between the two of us. And people don't generally go to women's sports. They don't. And I'm a woman. I can say that. And I love sports. I love athletes.
But there are sports that both men and women can compete in.
Well, to be fair, Jello Wrestling is a great sport.
I knew you were going to say that.
I support it entirely. And it's good for you. Jello, come on. They serve it in hospitals. It's good for you.
No.
But that's the entertainment value. You're watching a lot of jiggling going on and not just the Jello.
What
See,
the blue Jello? What are you talking about? You can't see down through blue Jello. I mean, come on.
Then you get into the part there where now you have you deal with enhancements where you have women that are stay as women and take steroids when you get into weightlifting and stuff like
Yep.
that. Now you come into different problems and different circumstances. So that's not allowed, but you allow a man that becomes a woman to compete with women, and that is being pushed to be allowed. You're going to have these arguments, period. But like this is the topic I brought up before, was with the military when they're changing these physical test stuff there to make it available so that anybody can come in. And the problem is that don't you want to have the best of the best being able to do at least the minimum or above average?
Mhm.
Wouldn't you think
No,
that?
no, you just want bodies, right? I mean, that's the military. You know, train people as best you can, put a gun in their hands, make them run at whoever. You know, as long as they can listen and take command. You know, that's kind of how it goes. And now we got these AI robots, man. I mean, you know, the robots are actually way too
Okay, so then
expensive.
think about police and fire, and Del and I are on the same page with this. Okay,
Mhm.
you've got a line of guys the same height as you, Michael. What, 6'7", 6'8"? They're
I'm
about,
6'5".
I thought you were taller than that. I'm sorry,
Nah,
but still, that's very
I'm
He's just a
tall.
little
short.
short. Yeah, he's a little
I'm
That's
short.
very tall.
He's just a
And
little
so
short,
they've got
man.
that muscle build,
Like
and
an
then
elf.
you've got a woman that's 5'3" and 120 pounds, and you got a bad guy coming, and you got a couple big guys, and you got a woman. Who's the bad guy going to go for and try and take out? Right? And then everybody else has got to help out and whatever. I have no problem with women being in those kind of things, but I'll tell you, if there's a burning building and somebody in my family is going to be rescued, I want someone that's going to be able to come and be able to save your butt. Women have to pass standards, but when you change the standards is where I'm going with this. And there's nothing wrong with equality, but really be truly equal. There are some good sized large women that can do that, but when you've got a tiny little woman, I'm sorry, we're just not physically capable of what a man is.
A lot of female police officers get overtaken,
Yeah,
and the guys take their guns and you know, beat them up or whatever. Sometimes kill them.
yeah.
Happens all the time. So.
No, that's what
But
I'm
that's
But
only
what
because they
about,
don't use the
let's
gun.
talk about something way worse. Now, when they started putting women in combat, man, I was going off. I was kicking and screaming. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And then, you know, they're in Iraq. I mean, they had captured a couple of women, and they were like repeatedly raping them and doing these terrible things. That's what you're going to have, you know, and there's just no place. There's no point. You know what I mean? Like female combat troops,
I
you
agree.
know,
I
no
agree.
point, man.
I agree, and I think that when we go back to even some of these policies that they're bringing in with Biden, like who are you trying to keep happy? We know you really don't think that way. You've been in politics for 50 years, and I think that you have to think about people's safety, because you just don't put one person, the female, at risk. You've got a male counterpart or whatever. You can't only not do your job. You got to make sure your coworker is safe as well.
Oh yeah, but also there's jobs that women just don't want to do too. You know, like on Weather Channel, I like watching this tow truck. That's actually from the 401 up there in Toronto. You know, like that road. And then these guys, like, you know, they haul these trucks and whatever.
Oh, yeah, we've
You got,
watched it. Yeah, we've watched it.
yeah, you got like 5 guys, and they're all having, it's like boys with toys, and then pulling trucks out of a ditch. Women would never do that. Like, you know, wouldn't even have the interest in doing that. You might have 1 or 2, but we have different roles. But that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, man. I mean, you know.
No,
Well,
women
the thing that it comes down to a part there is that you do have outliers. You have people there's 2 sexes. Don't get me wrong. That's what there is, right? And there's people that you have affinities to one thing or other, and then you have outliers that sort of buck the norm and stuff like that, where you might have a female that's interested in tow truck driving and monster trucks and stuff like that, but you have other ones that aren't. And you might have some guys that are interested in putting on dresses and doing fashion shows. There's always going to be the odd and stuff like that. But the way society has sort of gone with this new talking and stuff is that everybody should accept and appreciate everything and make it equal across the board. I saw this happen a long time ago when they had the Girl Guides and the Cub Scouts, and they're saying, well, the girls want to be in the Cub Scouts there, and you had guys that didn't want to be in the Girl Guides and didn't want girls in there. there's a total different mentality that goes when growing up, and things that people like to do. And that's the reason that you have clubs and groups and organizations. And this whole thing is that the way this society has gone now is that you cannot have exclusive groups, that everybody has to be able to join your group no matter what they are. And I think that's sort of a really backwards way of thinking of things.
Maybe we're too old. I don't know. But like I said, I think there's exceptions, like Del said. And again, being a girl here, and I believe in equal rights. I believe in it, but I think you also have to be realistic. And like when we're talking even about Biden here, like some of the policies and things, like, aren't they talking about removing the exceptions for women? And correct me if I'm wrong, because I only read that quickly. But where are you going with all this stuff? Like, who are you trying to keep happy here? I don't know.
They don't know. They don't know who to. You know what? All the people who yelled and screamed for the past 4 years, they feel like they had to placate them. Now they don't. So now their cries and all that. Like, look at AOC. She's like shocked every day. In fact, you don't even hear from her anymore, because when she, like, Biden got in, she thought, okay, we're going to do it now. That whole quartet of them, all four of them. Now they're nowhere. Nobody, Talib and the other one, Omar. Nobody talks about them anymore. They're gone. They're in fact, because the Democrats don't need them anymore.
Yes.
Actually, Omar, they talk about every day, because Omar just made all the nasty comments the other day.
How about the shooting?
They're trying to get her thrown out of Congress again, which, Nancy don't care. So as long as Nancy don't care, it's not going to happen. But
yeah,
I was reading while y'all were talking. There was a trans woman. She was stopped at the airport security because she was flagged because of her body part in scanners.
Was it her body part?
Her body part,
She
her
had
manly body part on her female self.
I don't think that's right. I mean, whose business is it? What's underneath your underwear? I'm sorry,
but it said the scanner flag.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what they thought it was something
coming on with a loaded weapon, for goodness sake! Like, Jesus.
thought it was a banana.
That's one of the things they teach in boot camp. This is your pistol. This is your gun. I mean, come on now. Everybody should know that by now. It's one of those things. Getting back to Uncle Cracker Biden. So, he's going to put out he's going to try to put out executive order on guns. I don't know what the hell he thinks he can do in executive order. Most everything dealing with guns is protected by the Constitution. So, it always aggravates me when they put out policies they know are going to get overturned, but it's going to cost millions or even billions to get them overturned. I really think the party should have to start eating that.
That's a good idea, Joe.
Well, because they would do less of it if they had to pay for it. If they lost it, they'd have to pay for it. If they knew they were going to lose, like those two impeachments, if they knew they were going to lose, they wouldn't have paid. They would have said, okay, well, we're not going to spend $150 million on something we can't win. This is just ignorant. And you would see a lot less of that stuff and that money going to other places. But right now, nobody really cares. And I'm looking at poor CNN. I guess they're about to collapse. Them poor baby.
Jeez, I feel so sad.
Well, they don't have nothing to talk about. Trump's going, and Trump ain't really doing anything. And they try to find something to talk about Trump, and nobody really cares. It's like, they try to talk. Normally they would spend days talking about anything Trump said, but but Joe Biden did his thing, and they couldn't even talk about how Trump did it because they knew nobody was going to believe it. It's like when Jim Acosta said, which still floored me. He goes, well, yeah, I know y'all taking credit for the 100 million. He said, but Trump was doing 1.3 a day. He said 90 days, of course, that's 100 million. He said, so you can't really take credit for that, can you? He said, if you would have doubled it, would have been different. But you haven't. So gas is up, food is up. That's a problem, though. Biden, if you even look like you're going to ask anything hard, Biden's voted out once you tossed out.
Yeah, but did our head honcho step down too after Project Veritas released all those tapes? That, like, how do you show up in a Zoom meeting and get recorded and you don't know who's there for 3 months? And I listened to some of those tapes. Those were pretty scary. I'll tell you what they were talking about. And they were talking to their foreign correspondents as well in this morning meeting. It was at 9:00. Did either of you guys listen to some of those tapes put out by Project Veritas?
No, I haven't heard them.
It was pretty bad. And it was talking about that was their goal, to bring Trump down, to get exactly what was supposed to happen happen. And it was pretty bad.
No, that surprised me. They've been doing that since he got in office. I mean, that's neither. See, and I blame Trump for that. We talked about that because here's Trump. He knows the Democrats can do everything they can to cheat, and he knew this a year before the election. He didn't take enough precautions. He could have put precautions in place that would have kept some of the states from doing what they did, and he would have probably been the president, but he didn't. So that's on him. And that just tells me right there he's not as slick as he thought he was. Even though I've seen him get away with a lot of shit, and I've seen him get away with stuff that most presidents would have just gave up on. And I do like some of the stuff he did, but he got outfoxed. And that's part of politics. It's part of the game. But the problem is the Democrats did it at a cost. Putting Biden and Kamala in there is going to cost them in 2022. They're going to definitely lose the Senate. They're only a vote away from that. And I think there's 5 or 6 seats that they're going to probably flip. And they're going to probably flip 7 or 8, maybe 20 House seats. So they'll have control. So Biden will just be lame duck, and he's already a lame duck. So he's like quacking around anyway. So it'll just be nothing but executive orders for the next 2 years. One executive order, the next one. But I already heard the Supreme Court say if he does an executive order on gun control, they're going to shoot it down. They're like, no, I'm sorry, you just don't. It's not a president's purview. You can't tell the people that. That's what we have Congress for, Mr. President, or Mrs. President, I should say. Yes.
Yeah, because they're not correct. They're not correcting him. He's slipping it in for all the time.
Ow! I think I lost hearing in this ear, man. Yeah, what happened? Okay, bad microphone.
President Harris, Biden's constantly saying, and nobody's blinking an eye or correct.
No, they're talking about it. Everybody thinks it's a joke. You listen to the media. I was listening to NBC the other day. They're like, oh, it's so sweet. He calls her because he knows when he retires, he's going to be president. I'm like, no, he's an idiot.
Well, wasn't he talking about running again last night? I was watching that part. Like,
oh, yeah. He goes full force. He's definitely going to run again. Oh, yeah. Trump said he's going to run again, too.
Well, what I guess the funny part about it is that, and it was off of Fox News that Kennedy was bringing it up, is that over the 4 years that Trump was in office, CNN, MSNBC, and that any little thing that Trump was doing, they were calling for. He's got to get checked out. He's psychotic. We got to get a medical test on him. We got to get his heart checked. He's probably not able to do anything. He's like probably going to drop dead. Maybe he's having a stroke. But for anything that goes towards for Biden and stuff like that, the CNN, MSNBC don't want to touch it, and they divert away from it. They're going, well, he's doing the best he can. He's out there for the people. If you had any other president that didn't do news media talking to the press, even they're blocking the press down at the border in Mexico. They don't want to show what's going on down there until they've cleaned up the mess and sent all those migrants to army bases. That's what they're doing right now. And just even a little while ago, there was leaked footage of all these kids in these plastic restriction zones with all these tinfoil blankets.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, looked like dead bodies wrapped up in them on the floor.
They're gonna have to figure out that, but that's already busted. The press is kind of on it. See, that's the problem for the press. They can't really. They want to be nice to Biden because he's their candidate, but there is no news. No news means no viewers. No viewers mean, oh shit, no promoting, no advertisers, which means, oh my God, somebody's getting fired. So MSNBC's ratings are way down. Everybody's on, including Fox's. Everybody across the board's ratings are down like 60%. So CNN's the worst by far. Even Trump made a joke the other day. They're so far down, I might just buy them. So, would that be a bitch, huh? But it's I want to see his new social media. But anyway, it's at the point now. What are they going to do? CNN's going to have to do something to set itself apart from its brother liberal lovers. So what does that mean? That means attacking the GOP. It's not going to help them to attack the Republican Party. One, the Republicans don't have control, so there's not much they can do. So that's just like beating a dead horse. So it's not going to help them rating-wise. Rating-wise means they're going to have to go after the president or Kamala or both. But they're going to, sooner or later, they're not going to have a choice.
They're chainsaws with no gas. You know what I mean? Like they don't have any they have no drive now. The Trump is gone. They can't say anything. I mean, the only thing they could do is whinge on about when he was in office, but and
nobody wants to hear that. That's the problem. Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, it's over and done with, man. Now it's all Biden.
You guys got what you wanted. You accomplished what you set out to do, and you can't keep coddling them. And there's so much stuff that's getting leaked out that you're seeing. that it's not coming from main news sources, but they're not even reporting on that stuff either. So, or
Oh,
like
well,
we
they
talked
don't
about this the last time, that you're hearing the helicopter rotors going in the background. What the vehicles apparently that supposedly from the Secret Service were older versions. Biden supposedly is having a conversation with the press, and his hand goes through the microphone. Like what the heck? Like what the heck is
Just
that?
just the fact that Biden hasn't ordered all the National Guard gone and those fences taken down and get business back to normal. He's sitting in there, like afraid and cowering from who? That idiot with the horns, or some fat people, Trump follows. Many of them were like
Well,
obese,
I'm
and they
guessing
had
it's going to be.
they had a hard time getting through that window. You know what I mean? Like they weren't the overthrow type of crowd. And if you shoot a few of them right in the front, the rest of them would have ran away. You know what I mean? Like the Capitol Police they didn't do their job. They're sworn to protect that Capitol building.
Well, you seen the day the judge told DC they got to release them people. All the
One of my
rioters,
friends,
they got to release them.
one of my friends that I grew up with was Secretary of Congress for a long time, man. That's a huge job. I mean, that's like you control all the operations there. He couldn't believe that these guys kind of just stood there while people walked past. But that's what Pelosi wanted. They wanted them to go in there. They wanted to say, well, look what they did. They shot that woman in the face, right? And I don't know. It just got to be something that could have been easily controlled, but allowed to go out of control to prove a point. And that's the danger of this political mess. It's not naturally forming; it's contrived, And then the people who are part of it, they're as dumb as dirt, man, as dumb as dirt, So whatever. I just feel bad for people who get caught up in that type of nonsense.
Well, it just shows their period is that what happened in the Capitol, and this is that you can tell that this was probably more than likely a staged or put on exercise where they fully put a limited amount of people that were in there, because if you look at any other footage over the years about how tough the military is and how tough the armed guard is and how well the police force is, and these couple of yokels or whatever, 100 or so, just walked right by them and shook hands and walked right through.
Well, when we watched it, Del, you know this, when we were watching it live, the Democrats got off, the whole left-hand side got up and ran out of the proceedings before anybody even knew what was going on.
Before they entered, yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was all crazy there, but it's just sort of weird. It's almost like there was this peacocking of Republican Democrat sort of side going on here. Yes, we got all this protection in here, and people still just walk right through. I've seen stricter security going into a Guns N' Roses concert than I've seen that happened at the Capitol building.
I was about to say, we had stricter security at the club, man. You try getting in one of those back doors. We had a dumpster we called the Buffalo. We even painted a buffalo on it. We threw people head first right into that thing. Like, you don't want to be in some New York City Buffalo freaking dumpster, And but I watched these guards just kind of stand there. The police kind of just let them walk right past. Hey, see ya. So that needs to be questioned. But you know what? We'll never get the answers. We already have the answers. We all know. I mean, the four of us, we do this all the time. We see what the reality is. A lot of people out there, they just follow what these idiots say. Then they argue with you. They don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They're arguing with you. Like they, I don't know. It's just going to be more stupidity. Trump cashed in on it, right? He played those people too. Keep in mind, I mean, he understood how to play those passions and use it to his advantage. He said what actually was needed to be said, and a lot of people followed him. But he's so fundamentally unlikable. That's kind of was his downfall. He's just not someone he's not a nice guy. I don't think he's a good person. Like good as good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's true. It's just like I've said this before, is that Trump is a businessman and he wanted to run the states like a business. You got Biden as a politician that is willing to be bought and sold like a prostitute.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you think that, all of you, do you think that Biden has a heart, whereas Trump is heartless?
No, Biden has no heart when he's done what he's done to children, and that is not conspiracy theory. You can find that out there. I mean, what he's done over the last 50 years, and if you go back and you take a look, I don't have to listen to me, just don't use Google, take a look. No, I don't think the man has a heart either. Don't.
It's like these people in politics. That's kind of their MO, you know. Like I don't think Obama had a heart. I don't think Bill Clinton had a heart. I mean, like Ronald Reagan, you know, or Bush. Think about the people. You know, go way back. I mean, the people who are kind of numb and heartless.
Everybody worked with Reagan said he was the nicest guy on the planet, man.
Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was the only one that had a heart in 100 years. Jimmy Carter, man. That dude, he wasn't even a good president.
He had a heart made out of peanuts, man. Get the hell out of here. That dude was on crack too. He's like Joe Biden.
Didn't he like UFOs too? Didn't he see a UFO?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
seen
yeah.
UFO. Yeah. But,
I can tell
and
you,
that was the problem. He had been probed.
I've never found something evil or nasty.
Exactly.
Jimmy Carter. I agree. Yeah, he wasn't a great president, but there's nothing evil that's come out under any skeletons out of the
Man,
closet.
what are you talking about? His brother created Billy Beer and got drunk on TV, man.
That was funny though, man. That's just funny.
That guy was hilarious.
Was even no. Even
Only
funny
in America.
when he borrowed $2 million from Libya and didn't pay it back. No, that's hillbilly. That's some redneck right there, man. I love it.
I remember this nurse or this rhyme that was going around back when I was like back in the early 70s when it said I think it was my baloney has a first name, it's Jimmy. My baloney has a second name, it's Carter. Whatever, it was like that the Oscar Mayer thing for Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. He wasn't that guy. He wasn't. He didn't even get a golden ticket at George Bush Sr.'s funeral, whereas the other head honchos did. He was
But he's done a lot of good. You know, the Habitat for Humanity and all that stuff. Like he's done a lot of good for people. So you know, that's cool. You don't see a lot of them. You don't see any of the other ones doing any good at all. Like Bill Clinton. What does he do? You know what I mean? He hides in his mansion and he goes out stumping. You know, whatever, man.
Hillary
he used to go running around Europe, but you know now he's getting kind of old, man.
You are what you do.
Outfit.
He's the same age as.
Anyway, let's get back to
he's the same age as Sammy Hagar. So look at Sammy Hagar and look at Bill Clinton, man. Sammy Hagar looks great and he's happy. So there.
Bill's married to Hillary.
What do you guys think on this? Okay, so you've got 2020, you got the year of this pandemic. You have businesses, everything they're being shut down. What do you think the Biden-Harris presidency there has been doing there to help home, help the state, or I mean the country itself? They seem to have a big problem with allowing more people to come into your country and not doing anything with the businesses and building up business. What do you think their plan is going forward? It doesn't seem like anything is sort of happening.
Because they don't know. The Democrats suck at making money. Look at Bill Clinton.
They're putting a bullet train in from the Mexican border to Canada. Did you hear that? Like 45 minutes, man. Boom, you're there.
No, it ain't doing that. Unless Elon Musk does it, it ain't happening.
Whoosh.
Unless Elon does that, that ain't never happening.
The immigrants up here.
Well, you got Castro up there. You got Castro up there. He'd love that, man.
Well, no, Trudeau said he would take about 20% of the immigrants that are at the border.
Of course, he didn't ask any
of course, none of the southern states will let them cross their states.
Can I come?
We'll be for them.
I want to be done with this already, man.
I had a conversation with this guy. I went into a store I never go into. And I was talking to him, and he was expressing how angry he is as a small business, yet big box stores can stay open. So I kind of red-pilled him a little bit. And the thing that I said, just so you know, I'm not crazy. I said, I bet you've never seen these pictures before. So I showed him who Mr. Casey or JT in the Sunshine Band's daddy is. Castro, he just about died. I can bet you that guy was on the computer. Well, nobody knows up here. Canadians are asleep. I was just talking to a couple people today. They're asleep.
That's them chemtrails. They keep spraying y'all up, man. That's what that is. Spray them down, man. Spray them down. But anyway, let me.
People don't see chemtrails anymore. They're gone, man. You ever
I don't know
noticed
where
that?
you've been. We see them all over the place down here.
Not around me.
No, I actually do. We talked about this a long time ago. If you want to see chemtrails, wait till there's something going on or a big holiday or anything coming up, and you'll see them at the yin yang, and then they'll go away for a couple of weeks and they'll be back again. It's easy to track them. We had people all around the country tracking them for like 10 years, and they pretty much do the same thing. If something's going on, something big like Mardi Gras, 2 weeks before Mardi Gras, they are everywhere. A week after Mardi Gras, you don't see them anywhere. And the atmosphere hasn't changed enough for it to be that big of a difference. Because everybody's always like, well, it's because of the atmosphere. Well, I had a guy on the air. He started arguing. I said, you do know I'm a certified plane captain, right? Advanced avionics, advanced electronics. I said, I know what a chemtrail is. I know what a contrail is. Contrails don't tend to last more than 30 minutes tops, and they usually dissipate. They don't spread out across the sky. I said, and you start seeing these things in line, and they start making little ripples across your sky. I said, that's some kind of chemical. And I said, and you can watch, because a lot of times you'll see U.S. tankers going across the sky just spraying. Because if you're not paying attention, it just looks like exhaust. But when you notice where it's coming from, then well, it's not exhaust. Yeah, some people say they're emptying water tanks or doing that or everything, and then they found benzene and some other chemicals in Seattle and in Oregon. Nobody knows exactly where. They know it came from a military plane. They just don't know why they were doing it. God only knows what that was about.
See, now I start conversations off. You do know that I'm certifiably insane, right? And then that kind of gives me a disclaimer. I'm like, I can do whatever I want to do to you and totally get away with it. Here's my idea. And I pull out a little piece of paper with some like squiggly crap on it, man. Like, here.
I'm an ambassador. I have ambassador rights. Sorry. I'm going home now.
Certified.
No, but the chemtrails are interesting because originally the military said they were being developed for what they called aerial inoculations. For something like COVID, actually, something that was a mass pandemic that was overwhelming the hospitals, they could just spray. Instead of having to inoculate everybody with a shot, they could just make it an airborne vaccination and spray. This is something they've been working on for a long time, and they are still working on it. Because if they could get it today, they could just spray the country and COVID would be gone.
How do you know that the aliens aren't changing people's DNA on purpose and caused all this to happen so people go out and get these vaccines that change your DNA at a molecular level? How do you know that? Because it just seems weird that this happened all of a sudden, man. I mean, I know things happen. I study viruses. I get it, but this is like above and beyond, over the top type of virus, and on top of that, boom. Ooh, in 6 months, we have a cure. What about cancer? Did you forget about cancer? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, man. I don't know. Whatever. That's my rant for tonight.
Well, you got to figure that even with if they had a spray out there, right, you figure about the mosquito problem. They've been spraying for mosquitoes that have passed along disease and pathogens forever, and it's a mosquito problem.
Maybe it's hairspray they're spraying. That's why I have such good hair these days.
I got to address something back to that. See, Jack, I don't really have a problem with dipping the cigars. I just have a problem with who we dip the cigars. I'm not going to say anything else because I don't even know what we're talking about. Still. So wait. So are we going to let Biden get away with executive orders on gun control?
I was going to add, Joe, somebody that says in the YouTube chat, now the bad guys are here. I'm not quite sure what that means. As a Dolly Saffron. You guys know what the bad guys are here?
Bad guys.
It's interesting that Biden took over, and now there's these mass shootings again. Isn't that weird? Like it really hasn't happened in a long time. Terrorist attacks.
It happened like a couple of weeks when Trump first took over, and then it went away. But you can always see that, and even the Dems had to admit to this. Under Obama, there was a mass shooting a week. Under Trump, there wasn't. Under Reagan, it wasn't. Under Bill, there was quite a few, and it's different. And all the big nasty ones have been under Democratic presidents. So it's one of them things that, because Democrats breed violence, they want disruption. It gives them. It's a way to get more control of the country.
When they arrest these shooters, they're largely Democrat.
They are usually.
Okay, I'm going to throw something out there, you guys. Now, Biden's talking about getting rid of your guns, and all of a sudden, you've had 2 mass shootings.
Well, no, that's why he's talking about it, because it was. It's how it works with the Democrats. There's 4, 5, 6 mass shootings like in a couple of weeks, and now we got to get rid of your guns. it always happens with them. But yet when Republicans
I
come
don't
in,
know.
they're all mass
The egg or
shootings.
the chicken come first. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but no, they were. It always
It's their
happens.
agenda. It's the agenda, man. I mean, that's their agenda. That always has been.
We saw it here, the largest mass shooting ever in Nova Scotia and then Trudeau came out all of a sudden, decided anybody that had legal, there was, how many different types of guns were there, Del? There was like, what was that?
There was over 1,000 different
That's,
types.
I thought.
He just put through a mandate. He bypassed all of Parliament and just put this thing in. Within 2 years, all this registry has to be done. And this is the whole thing that he did during over COVID, right? So these people that are getting into power, this is what I find so frustrating, is that they're elected people. They're playing around with your money and spending it freely and making rules that are not being debated or even talked about. Like this is like we have up here. We have referendums where actually the population sort of votes in a way, and like in a non-vote, to see how people are sort of feeling, to sort of gauge the market. But now we have this area where you have people in power here in Canada that are making rules and mandates and changing and basically restricting freedom.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, that's why I brought this up. Like, and again, Joe likes to call me the crazy conspiracy queen. So I'm not trying to be conspiratorial here. I'm just saying it just seems awfully coincidental that now it's become a made, like you said, is it because of these two shootings or?
Right. And a good investigator doesn't believe in coincidences. You know that? I mean, really, much of the time it's not. It's intended. So
well, this is another part there too. Okay, so you have that whole instance there in the UK where they removed guns out of there, and their knife attacks went up. So say you remove guns here in North America and stuff like that. Do you think bombs and dirty weapons and infectious diseases will go up? I think that's a worse way to have things going, where you sort of blindly get everybody. Like I think out of the worst out of the things there, I think I'd rather still have guns than have a nuclear bomb or a infectious disease go off.
they're afraid people are going to rise up, man. You know, but then again, see, and this is the part of the defense of the country. A lot of times back in the day, America was never invaded because everybody did have a gun. And, you know, people have said there'd be a gun behind every tree, you know, literally. So if you disarm the public, that doesn't help local law enforcement. It doesn't help any town, city, any situation like that. It's good to have that element, man. So I don't know. That they preach it. It's funny. They want to get rid of guns because of their looks, not because of their functionality. You know, when New York made the AR-15 legalized in New York, you know, New York standards, they didn't change any functionality in the gun. They just changed the look of it. You know, no pistol grip or no flash suppressor. You know, or you know that kind of crap. It didn't change what the gun does. So
Kill people.
They're afraid about looks. Oh, it looks so. You know, Joe, and you guys know the most powerful weapons in the world, guns, are hunting guns, hunting rifles, 30-30s, 30-06, 7 millimeter Magnum, or you know, I mean, you have some really
260, 270, all of
375. You got some really big bore, a huge man.
Yeah,
they take down elephant.
You got the black powder ones with the 44 cals. But anyway, let me play this. Let's see. Hopefully, we can hear this.
But before we continue, Lee Harvey Oswald got all those shots off in a couple of seconds with an Italian bolt rifle gun.
Yeah. My first 30-06 I ever owned was actually a Ruger bolt action. I was fast as hell with that gun, man.
I love a bolt action, man. They're fun.
That was one of my favorite hunting rifles. But let's see if we can hear Mr. So this is Ted Cruz. He's down at the board. I want to see what this is. So here we go. Somebody just sent me this. I don't even know.
Wait. Let's do a song. Ted Cruz on crack. Ted Cruz on crack. Ted Cruz is whack. Texas style. Tang. How's that?
It's past midnight.
Yahoo!
I can't hear it.
Can y'all hear it? Because I can hear it.
I can't hear it.
I can't hear it.
No. Audio. I wonder why not.
I can't.
Nope.
He's talking about all the facilities he's been to that are overrun.
I can't hear anything, Joe. Nothing.
And that's weird.
It is.
He's down there, but I ain't seeing him showing no. Look at this cheesy bastard. He ain't showing none of the facility. You cheesy bastard. I bet you.
Just showing you the path through the jungles
Yo,
on a set there in
No.
Van Nuys.
now it's Republicans. They should put like footage of like Chinese sweatshops from the 1930s. You know, all these people in factories, little children working, and man, like, look at Joe Biden's border. Ah,
Well, you also
oh man.
part of their
Man, a lot of people looked at these damn videos, man.
the part you were saying there, Mike, about the part about guns is that this is the part that the news media is working on, are sort of painting this picture. They're calling it assault weapons, and they don't understand that assault weapons is a very broad term. They're saying that it's like a machine gun, fully automatic, but you know what? A kitchen knife is an assault weapon. A hammer is an assault weapon.
If you get
a BB gun is an assault weapon.
If you get brought in with the police with whatever gun, they never call it assault. If you committed an assault with it, it's an assault weapon.
Right.
It could be a knife, could be a gun. But
Actually, you know why they can't use in a court? They can't use assault weapons because the only way it can be considered as an assault weapon is if it's been into a war zone.
yes, assault is a charge. Well, there is no assault weapon, really. I mean, you have military weapons. Military weapons are illegal. You can't own military weapons.
Well, you
really,
can't just count them fully automatic.
well, you have to have some. You want to pay $25,000 for a tax stamp. Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? You want to own something like that, but whatever, man. It doesn't really matter. I mean,
it's expensive.
I own those types of rifles, and I barely even go shooting. And you know why? Because it's expensive. Bullets are expensive.
They are right now, buddy.
You pop off a couple hundred rounds of 5.56. You're going to go through $300 or $400 or $500.
But I'm glad you said it, Mike, because think about this. Under Obama, there were record gun sales. Gun sales. Okay, but under Ford, under Ford there wasn't. I mean, not Ford.
You said
Bush,
Ford because Ford kept falling down. He kept tripping.
No, he was a weirdo. But I mean, under Bush there wasn't. Under Trump, sales went down. Man, Biden gets in, boom, they're through the roof again. I know they always say the NRA hates liberals, but I'm thinking that's some bullshit. I think liberals must own some stock in gun companies somewhere, some underground stock. I mean, because every time they get in office, gun sales go through the roof.
Well,
currently there's 450 million guns in the United States. Yeah, come invade our country. We're definitely going to kill your ass.
I've read multiple times that the Democratic Party isn't raising any money now, and now debts are also due. So there's no Trump. They can't put their hand out and say, "Oh, look at this, give us money, we'll defeat him." They defeated him, so now it's over. So what are they going to do? It's going to be very interesting what happens. This is a party that doesn't care what they do or how they have to do it to get what they want, and that's inherently dangerous in a free society. And Pelosi's the one. She's a mastermind. She didn't used to be, but she got thrust forward, and Biden's just that puppet. You know what he's just the guy that's there.
Well, I think in Biden's case, it's a kind of a twofold thing. I think he has tantrums so that he can actually do something. He gets he gets days of clarity. Grandpa. That's it. He gets days of clarity, and he's like, "I'm the president, and this is what we're going to do." And then, of course, a couple of days later, he's back to old Cotter and Joe that don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. It just scares me because this guy's got the nuclear codes, man. I'm thinking if he could even remember the damn thing. China just attacked us. Biden, what's the code? Oh, I don't know.
He might think the thing is a radio, man, and go over and start pushing buttons.
I've watched about a dozen interviews, not interviews, but showing Biden in these meetings and stuff like that. And this is one thing that really shows forward to the rest of these countries around the world that are looking at this, is that whenever he's sort of in a meeting that he's talking to his staff members and stuff like that, he's always like, "Do you want me to talk now? Should I let this person go? I'm gonna hand this over to this person." It doesn't seems like leadership there. There's no forcefulness. There's no hey, I'm in command. That show anybody that this guy is should be the one that's taking charge. And it's a really sort of an interesting dynamic that the rest of the world is looking at this and going, "Is this the guy that you have running your country?"
You're right, Doc. You're
Yeah.
right, Del.
I'll tell you something I did see that was interesting. There's a group together getting recall votes together in case for some reason Biden becomes unable to be president, like if they use the 25th Amendment on him or something. They're already getting recall votes because Kamala is not president. None of us voted for Kamala to be president, and none of us want Kamala to be president. Even the liberals are like, ooh, I don't know, man. She kind of smells. I don't know if we want her to be president. Jackson, no, nobody cares if we get a woman president. She's good. This is what the country's coming down to. Right now, we're giving positions based on your sex and your color, which never works out because if you don't give positions based on your skills, you always get screwed.
Yep.
It should never be based. It doesn't matter what the differences are in the world right now. The people who deserve the job should get the job. It should not be, oh, well, he's black, he needs a job. Bullshit. If there's somebody better, whatever color, whatever sex, they should get the job.
You know what? It should be a woman because we haven't had one, but not just a woman. I'll say all this. I'll say it like this. I'll say it like this, and then I'll shut up. All war is deception. Therefore, women are perfect for that job. I see what women do to women. I've grown up around women. I grew up with like a whole house full of women, man. No. I understand the code of the sisterhood, but that only goes out towards the men. Amongst them, oh man! So if you have a good one, I mean, let's face it, Hillary would have been a good president. I bite my tongue saying that. I don't like Hillary as a person, but she would have been on. She would have let Bill do it. She would have sat on his shoulders.
No, she would not. She hated Bill. She probably had his ass killed or something.
He knew how to run things, man. He was a good president.
Mills.
I'm not into that whole party politics, but he was a good president.
Who, Bill?
Yeah.
Bill had the advantage of Trump. I mean, Reagan left him a fantastic booming economy when he came in.
It was Bush. And the economy crashed because Reagan paid for everything with other credit cards. It's like paying for your credit card with your other credit card. I got this credit card in the right hand, but I'm going to pay for the one in the left hand. Well, then it was all due.
You do know Reagan doubled America's GDP, right? You do know that, right, Mike? No president in the history's ever done that but him. No one. He doubled our GDP.
It was an incredible debt. Incredible. And then that idiot Bush, read my lips, no new taxes. Remember that? I remember that. What did he do? First thing he did was raise taxes.
You know, Reagan had less than $1 trillion in debt compared to
I ain't going to argue about Reagan.
Trillion today.
People said that when he was head of the Actors Guild that he didn't even know what the hell he was doing or where the hell he was, and his whole administration came down to, I don't recall. Oh, the Iran-Contra affair. I don't recall. Yeah, great.
He didn't have to recall it. He had Ollie North. See, that's a difference. That shows you a really good president. Everybody in his administration was willing to throw themselves on a sword for him. Everybody.
Because people had loyalty, dude.
You can't say that for Bill. You can't even say that for Obama. Back in the day,
people had loyalty. People don't have loyalty anymore, man.
Yeah, they wouldn't have done it for Trump. They'd have thrown Trump on the sword.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd probably throw Biden on the sword. But, I mean, Ollie said, look, you know what? I did this. I messed up. I was trading drugs for guns. I'll go to jail for this. Of course, he wrote his book and made $40 million. But still, he went to jail and did his time and got out and was a millionaire. And Reagan went on to become
one of my friends.
Hilarious and insane.
One of my friends is friends with Oliver North, man. They hang out all the time. It's kind of funny, And he says he's like a down-to-earth, nice guy. But, a lot of people thought that he got shafted. And he did.
And I think the big problem here is going on is that there's too many people thinking about the part about we need to have a female president. We need to have another dark skinned president. We need to have a Hispanic president.
We need Darth Cheney back.
And that's the thing is that nobody's ever looking at how about a competent one that actually sort of is going to benefit.
Right.
But that's a question. Who?
That's
the whole point. But that's the whole point. Hillary would have sucked because nobody respected her overseas. That was the same problem that Lizzie would have had. Nobody respected her overseas. If you're going to run this country, you've got to put the fear into our allies and our enemies. They couldn't have done it. Nobody that Republicans were feeling could do it. Kamala definitely can't do it.
No.
So you've got to have a woman like, who you need, like a Margaret Thatcher that comes in and says, you know what? We're America. We got all the nukes. We got all the money.
Margaret Thatcher's ghost, you're saying, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, but,
she's long dead, man.
But unfortunately, America's role in the world right now is to keep the peace. We're not here for anything else. Eventually, that'll change.
dare I say Ivanka Trump?
I wouldn't mind her.
She's
You know what?
intelligent. Ivanka's intelligent. I mean, I don't know.
I
The
don't know
Trump,
if she's assertive enough. Like I'm listening to
yeah,
the woman. To me, I don't care who's in power. First of all, I have to agree. Del and I have had this conversation many times off the air.
she's gonna have to grow a set.
You're just a figurehead. But the thing is, it doesn't matter about who the sex of this person is that is the leader of a country. It's somebody that commands respect and has leadership skills. And like you said, you may not have liked Trump, but he was, people realized he was the leader. With Biden, I was listening to him last night, and he was so soft spoken. Like
Because he's scared. Kamala's going to slap him in the back of the head.
well,
think-
Kamala's no better because, and you know what? I think Zachman here in the chat room hit the nail on the head. He said, "I'm down for a female president. I just don't want one that built her political career on her knees." And it's the truth.
But do you think
Yeah.
that
Or
other
bodies.
women around the world, leaders, female leaders, get respected by other male leaders around the world? I mean,
Some do. Some do.
I'm going to say
Not
something.
all of
I
them.
had a hard lesson.
Not all of them, but some do.
And it's not politics, but I'm going to say this is I got a kid with special needs, and I had a real jerk of a principal at the one school. I can tell you right now, I would go to a meeting. I know how to conduct myself professionally. I'd be dressed professionally. I'd go in there, and it didn't matter what I said. Didn't listen to me. Del would come in there. He wouldn't have to say one word. And the guy, what do you need? What do you want?
Oh yeah, I used to piss my wife right the fuck off when they did that.
because he's the amazing Dell. They don't get it, man. Just getting him there is enough. You know what I mean?
It's the point that
I am not
I
a
realize that nothing has really changed. As much as we think it has, it may have a different face, a different name, and you guys have to agree with me. Let's face it. If a woman stands up for herself and she gets a little pushy, she's a biatch, and we still know that. We hear that.
Yeah, but that's true. Man. Guys are considered assholes when they do that.
I like assertive women are a turn on. I love assertive women. You know,
Actually,
yeah, but as your leader, so you have to have a special kind of magic. I
well,
think,
nobody
for that kind
leads
of woman
me.
to be in there.
No one leads me. You know,
well,
I
if she's sexy,
don't
she
even
can
look
lead
at.
me.
You know what? I look at like represents. Okay, like they're supposed to be there doing good things for all of us and not for themselves.
I agree.
So the whole thing that they do, it's BS. I'm 54.
Well, I'm
I'm
tell you this
old
now.
enough to know better with all this. You know what? Right now, I just want to find some kind of happiness in life, man. And all this other stuff is just shitty background noise. It really is. It's some bad music from a bad neighbor. That's what it is, man. Shut that crap off.
I would vote for Condoleezza Rice tomorrow for
Would you?
president. Because she's the only woman that I can think of currently that I would vote for.
Joe, I hate to say, I just ate Condoleezza Rice the other night.
Yeah, so I bet she wishes you did. She's a big scary girl. But you
It was
better
actually
watch
very
that.
good, man.
She might send the tennis girl after you.
It is too bad because I think she was railroaded. Because I've heard a lot of people say this is Tulsi Gabbard. I think a lot of people like.
Tulsi was nice and Tulsi was sweet and Tulsi was cute, but that's the problem. Tulsi was sweet. You ain't going to be president.
She's too much of a deer in the headlights. But Condoleezza Rice is an evil oil company executive. Don't forget.
NFL executive.
She has a super tanker named after
wait,
her,
let's
man.
not forget
a super tanker. You know what I mean? So Bush
was,
put her in there because she was oil blood. And then,
you know what? She was the first woman to go to Saudi Arabia and cut deals. She actually was the first woman to go anywhere and cut deals.
Because she's a demon. They looked at those
eyes.
But
she also made
saw a demon. They're like, there's a demon here.
Pat agrees with you that he thinks she would make a great president too.
I think she'd make a great president. She's tough. She's to the point. But like she said, you know what it is? The good people never want to be president. That's what the real problem is in our country today. The people who can make a difference don't want to do it. They're like, wait, what you want me to do? Well, no, I'm gonna keep running my business. There
used to be a dude that I liked named Harold Ford. You know Harold Ford? He was a representative, Democrat from Tennessee, man. And this guy said it right, did it right, light-skinned black dude, really cool, you know. And I often thought he'd be president one day because he was so well balanced. And that's what you need. It's not the party, it's the person, man. If they're balanced, they can appeal to everyone.
Okay,
say, okay.
That point there, Joe, that you said there is actually right. It said all the smart ones and the ones that would do good all want to be behind the scenes and in the shadows.
They don't want to be president.
It's the
They-
money
they
too.
don't-
To be
It's the
president,
money.
It is the money. It is the money. You know, look
But
at
then,
Elon Musk.
but
Oh,
then
let me go run
afterwards,
America for what?
afterwards
$2
you
billion
cash
a year.
in. I mean, look at Al Gore cashed in. He was just vice president. He got
Yeah,
hundreds.
but you don't cash in like these guys do. You don't become billionaires. from being
Obama's cashing in.
Yeah, but he's what, worth 600 million now or something?
yeah.
400 million.
He does a speech for like what, 2.5 million to do a speech for 40 minutes.
Yeah, and Elon Musk is worth what, 300 billion?
It's not.
400 billion?
You can't put a value on former president because it's how people kiss his ass, how he travels, and
Yeah, but matter of fact, he made a comment about that recently, that he didn't get as much money as his predecessor did to travel, and Bush didn't like to give speeches. Now Bill went everywhere. Bill was just a speech whore. He went everywhere he could, every college, he went to Russia about 30 times. I mean, this guy was speaking everywhere he could. Anybody who would give him some money, he was there talking about it.
No, it's funny about speeches. I remember this one there when Hillary was running. They had, I think it was in Toronto, they had rented out, I think, the Air Canada Center, and I think it was $16,000 a seat to come in there and watch her do his speech. And I think it only like 200 people showed up. That just shows you how much people respected Hillary.
It happens sometimes. It's wait, what is this we got on here? Breaking news. What's breaking news?
$16,000 a seat. They knew only 200.
Breaking news: everybody who got the vaccine is turning into a zombie. Sorry, Joe.
I've
That
been
means
hearing
you.
that, Michael. You're the second person today.
I wish it was that easy, man. It's going to be the ones that didn't get the vaccine that's going to turn into the zombies when they release the second virus.
Zach Mann says in the chat, he says they have a Arizona Senator Kristen, I think it's Sherma. So I don't have my glasses on, or Cinema. I can't see. I'm sorry, Zach. It says she has reached across party lines and has shown great leadership. She's also a Democrat. He said, I don't agree with her on everything, but she was better than, I think, somebody else, and it didn't show up the rest of the comment here. So.
I know a lot of people that got the vaccine so far, man. Nothing happened to them.
So far, everybody seems to be surviving, but we'll see where it all ends up. It's if it's ET thing, well, all the non-virus people are going to turn into twos. Sorry, guys, what can I tell you? It's gonna be rough.
I think the great thing I saw today that was really, really heartbreaking, because I worked in the NICU and I've worked in labor and delivery, was a video clip of a woman giving birth. I believe it was in California, with a mask on the video, and her baby had a plastic sheet over its face while they were bonding at the minute it was born. That upset me. Because where are we going with this stuff, you guys? Like, where did that come from? That you got babies breathe through their noses. All I kept thinking is, how are they not suffocating this poor little thing?
Well, that's another part there that comes out of this whole thing with the border. If you see the pictures that were going on there, you have all these people next to each other. They're not testing for COVID down there, and they're releasing them out and sending them out in buses to other places all throughout the states. This has been a talking point of I think the governor in Texas and the mayor in Texas going, they're just dropping people off in parks with no COVID test period. And this is the DNC Biden administration that's allowing this to go on. This is crazy. Like, if you're on a flight, going international flight, coming into Canada, they put you in a COVID hotel on
jail
your dime
at your expense.
And like, this is insane. But they're allowing immigration with how many people to come in and just multitude and spread throughout everywhere. This is what's so crazy about this whole thing about
and then babies being born,
herd immunity and virus.
And then babies being born, the moment you should be bonding with your mother, and there's a sheet of plastic placed over your face. Like, where's the logic? I think this year and last year is the death of common sense. Because here we are, like you said, Del, at the border, this all happening, and yet we've got a new life, and you've got a piece of plastic over your face. Like, why? Like, where's the common sense with this? This is what I don't understand. We had somebody the other night that lives here in our city. Her husband's in the U.S. He never got their visa sorted out, about 2 hours away before this all happened. And so she went and got the vaccine, and she's been told that's not enough. So her and her husband still can't be together. They got the vaccine. So what did you get the vaccine for then?
They might start doing 90-day inoculations, booster shots.
I just don't understand this. It just
somebody's making money.
Mm-hmm.
Did you invest? If you didn't invest in Bitcoin, invest in Johnson and Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes the action doesn't meet the demand. Do you know what I mean? And then you have to start asking questions of what's going on. But
That's
then
what we're asking. Like, how
but
does
you
this
have
make
a
sense?
lot of people out there that will not get the vaccine. I mean, I'm on the fence, you know, and I'm actually in the business, so I'm watching people, and I'm, you know, it is what it is. But I feel like, listen, I drove across the country from New York to Utah and back during this whole thing.
You're
Fires,
the super spreader.
fires, floods, that, you know, COVID. I mean, whatever, everything you think of, you know, was going on. That was going on. I didn't catch anything. I was smart. I wore the mask. I did the hands, you know, and I didn't go to rest stops with 100 people. I stayed away from places where people would cake up, you know, basically make the mad dash at a hotel, go in and chill. But you can avoid things if you have to, man. But then you get the people who want to be in big crowds like spring break. You know, I mean, everybody's expecting that to kind of explode because all those people are going to be super spreaders. They're going to go home and they're going to encounter their families, and then, you know, it goes on and on and on. So
But what happens if it don't?
if it doesn't, then that's good, because that means that that's, you know, something is happening. You know, I mean, like, in a good way. You have these variants now that are mutations. That's not good, but I don't think that they're going to be able to really keep up with
Well,
with everything else in the vaccines. So plus herd immunity. You can't forget about herd immunity. That sometimes these things go inert. You know,
you
sometimes
know the
they run out of
vaccines.
gas.
You know, these vaccines are different than other ones. It's weird the way they're set up. All three of them are a little bit different. The Pfizer and Moderna are real close to the same. Johnson's actually a whole different thing, but
Yeah.
they're all doing the same thing. They're not going after COVID. It's what everybody keeps getting confused about. They're not trying to kill COVID-19. They're teaching it to identify the spikes of COVID. And the reason why is because all variants of COVID have the spikes. So it's going to teach your body to attack them no matter what. That's the whole
No,
point
No,
to it.
vaccine
It's
does
just a
not
different kind
kill
of thing.
a virus. A vaccine was never developed to kill a virus.
These aren't
Right.
vaccines, though. They don't even call them. When you
But
go
what
get them, they're not
yes,
even calling
they
them
are
that.
calling it vaccines. And the thing is, with a vaccine, normally what they do, they identify the agent that causes the issue. They either
That's what they
take a
did here.
strand of it live or a dead strand. They
But that's not
incubate
what
it
they're
and
doing.
create the vaccine, and it's supposed to get your body to develop immunity.
Yeah, but that's not what this is. That's what I'm saying. This is not a
I
traditional
don't agree.
vaccine in any
I
shape,
do
form, or
not agree.
fashion.
You're coming
But
from
they're
a
not.
medical background.
First off, Moderna and Pfizer are not even using any COVID at all.
Because
There's
they never
actually no
identified
COVID in the
causes
vaccine
it.
at
They have
all.
never ever singularly identified what exactly
Well,
caused.
there's none, and I've heard several professionals talk
These
about this. There's no COVID in those two vaccines.
the
It's not how it's
vaccines that
developed.
they had already developed a long time
Yeah,
ago,
they
and
have. Well,
they're
Johnson
actually
Johnson has.
they were actually cancer vaccines, and they
Yeah,
adapted them
Johnson's exactly what it was.
for SARS. It's actually SARS-CoV-2, and then they adapted it for that. And you're right, they're going after spikes, but see, now you have these mutations that are using antibodies as like Trojan horses and collecting them, and then getting right past all this other stuff, right past the vaccine,
I
right
know
past
as
the
far as
white blood
the
cells, and they're hitting the good cells and they're replicating. So that's the scary part, if that really like takes off. But I
They've been
don't know.
doing
I think
this. They've been doing this since the first SARS issue, and they use ferrets, which are very similar with their immune system to human beings. Everything was fine right up to they were allowed to do a challenge with animals that they're not with human beings. The animals showed a great autoimmune response. There was no issues, but when they did the challenge, they exposed them to what they were supposed to be using, whatever you want to call this, a vaccine, whatever you want. The animals developed a cytokine storm, which means that the immune system turned on itself. They developed severe autoimmune issues, or they developed brain damage and other organ damage. That's why it's never been released. We did not have any animal studies with this vaccine, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it a vaccine because that's what they're calling it. That's where my concern is, because there's not been enough long-term studies to see what happens in the long run.
exactly.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen to people's kids. You know, I mean,
Exactly.
DNA, man. You know, you take. We're not sophisticated enough to start messing with DNA. You know, I mean, it's it's going to be interesting to see. It'll be interesting.
Dengue fever, same thing. It's a problem over in the eastern part of the world, and again, no problems until they inoculated a bunch of kids with this, and then when they got exposed to actual dengue fever, the kids were dying. They're ending up with worse symptoms, and dengue fever is no joke. They had to pull the vaccine. So that's what I'm saying.
For some reason, they're not vaccinating the kids. It's 16 and over only here. A matter of fact, anywhere in the United States, it's 16 and over. They're not vaccinating the kids. They said there's no need for it. It doesn't kill kids.
The places in the world they're looking at.
What doesn't kill kids?
COVID doesn't kill it the way it kills everybody else.
Nah, it's starting to. And you know what it does to kids? This is the crazy part. It tears their lungs up and reduces their lung capacity. So even though they don't get the same type of symptoms or the same type of illness, it affects them differently. It's destroying their organs.
Yeah, but even that's still a small percentage. It's not a large percentage. It's not a big enough percentage that they're going to worry about it.
My scary part is I don't want to be in a small percentage of anything.
I agree with you on that because you're going to get screwed.
If you're the one that's happening to, man, it doesn't matter.
But you know as well as I do, unfortunately, that's the way our society works.
Damn it. God dang it.
Point, Michael. When it's happening in your world, it matters a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But we got in about a month, I got one lawyer coming on. We're going to be talking about the different rules when it comes to the different.
Is he a reptilian?
No, but he's actually a serious lawyer when it comes to dealing with suing over certain things. So
you should keep.
We're going to bring him on. Well, we want everybody to really. We want everybody who's getting these so-called shots to know what their rights are. And
they don't have any rights.
Oh,
you don't have any rights.
Got rights.
You can't even sue. You can't even sue, man. They made it so you can't sue.
Michael, I've had this argument with Joe many times.
Unfortunately, both of y'all are wrong because they waived the suits against experimental vaccinations. It does not fall. If it's an experimental vaccination, it does not fall under the mandate because it's experimental.
Just do your research. Don't use Google.
I don't have to. We just had this on the network just a week ago. It's going to be coming on again. You can actually listen to the lawyer who works for the government talk about it himself.
For the government. Did you hear that part?
The lawyer who works for the government will say.
The government's the one who made the rule about you can't sue. That's who controls.
He'll tell the truth.
Yeah, and of course he will. Because he wants the money. Of course he will. He wants the money. We all know the truth. Money talks and bullshit walks.
Trust him.
It's all about the money.
No,
but anyway,
he
it
works
doesn't
for the
really
cigarette
matter.
company. He says cigarettes are healthy. Damn
it. It doesn't really matter at this point because it's already an ongoing deal.
You mean like when Johnson and Johnson's put asbestos in their talcum powder for children? And then people
how much
died?
did they pay, Michael?
Yeah, but what happened? And guess what?
But Michael, how much did they make my argument for me, Michael?
No,
how much did they pay? Yeah.
They put out a few bucks. They put out a few bucks. And Jojo, listen for a change. They put out a few bucks, and within 2 hours, their stock bounced way past what they put out. So to them, it's just a game. It's a game, man. You pay a few bucks, it's a game. But in this case, since it's a health emergency, and these are all like ordered and mandated and all this other crap, you can't sue. You can't sue if something happens to you. It's just the law.
You can always. It is a law. If it's an experimental drug, you can always sue.
I mean, you can sue. Yeah. Under the premise, you can sue anybody for anything. Sure.
They unfortunately for the companies, they've already found this out. Pfizer's already being sued. Actually, poor AstraZeneca is being sued from 5 different countries at the moment, plus the United States because of
I just sued McDonald's for chicken McNuggets because
the problem is when you do experimental drugs, you're putting your ass on the line, and the government Trump did not in any shape or form in any of his bills give them a way out. Whoa. The Democrats even talk about it. It's one of the things that's on the floor in the House right now. Can they actually give them amnesty? And the courts are saying no.
Have to go back to 1984 when the legislation came out. It was 84 or 86. That's where the legislation is, Joe.
It doesn't matter. The legislation only legislates drugs that have been tested. It's not experimental drugs. And it says it clearly in the legislation. Anybody can go read it. It clearly says that these drugs have to be vetted and tested and approved by who? The government.
I'm gonna say to people, please.
Non-approved drugs leave a company. Why do you think? Dermot said this themselves. They were on TV talking about this.
Look her up. She's been speaking about this. She's worked within the vaccine community for 10 years. There's
Okay.
quite a few physicians from over in Europe that also are joining her. There's Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. There are all kinds of physicians out there. That's all I say. You don't have to believe me.
But that's Europe. What I care what the hell goes on in Europe. It don't
Okay.
affect me.
Those
I
two
got a
American
question
doctors
there,
I just
Joe.
mentioned to you that are
Yeah,
practicing.
and they're working in Europe, yeah, because they
Yes.
probably got canned in America. Yeah, that don't do me any good.
Okay,
Joe's
I
in
got a
denial
question.
phase.
Yeah, no, baby, no, because I know the law. No,
Denial
really,
just
you
ain't
know,
another river in Egypt.
If these vaccines are not federally approved, right, FDA approved as being a vaccine or being a drug to be taken there, how can they be mandated as mandatory?
they're not.
For
They
a lot
are.
of businesses,
They're
they
not.
are.
They're
are.
not mandatory anywhere.
There's
And
backdoor.
the Supreme
Wait,
Court
wait,
has
wait, wait, wait.
already said they will not let them be mandated.
You don't understand. It's a backdoor mandatory. All right, you know what a mandate? It's a backdoor when to go to take this flight, you need a vax
Well,
card.
you know,
Or to enter this office building, you need a vax card. It's going to be like that. That's going to
y'all
be
have gotten too used to living in the communist part of America. I can tell because that shit's never going to happen here ever.
we're
Things that happen up north and
we're
in Canada will
sodomies
never
against the
happen
law.
down here.
Really?
Ever.
At least
Yeah,
sodomy's not against the
we
law
don't
up
care
here in
what the
New
Fed
York.
says. Look, what did Joe Biden say? Joe Biden said everybody's got to wear a mask. You can't open up. What's the first thing the South did? Get rid of masks and open up. The whole entire South's open now. We basically
Who cares about it?
We don't care what he says. It's not going to matter to us. None of that shit's going to make a difference down here. We're going to be like whatever. It's as far as they're concerned, it's a separate country. We just have to abide by them because they got the military now.
Right now, COVID is dying down, man. So it's on the downtrend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hopefully it'll stay like that.
Hopefully, yeah. You know.
What's that, Jackie?
Then you know what? Once it's gone, you're gonna see a renaissance, man. People are gonna come out in big numbers. Music.
I don't know where you've been. People are out in big numbers. Jesus, you need to come down here, dude. I mean, first off, I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday in Miami. Miami is ungot for like the last 5 weeks. Miami has been so packed that the police are everywhere. Yeah, Florida's been open for a while because Florida was smart. Florida locked its state down until they got it under control. And once they got it under control, they kept it under control. And they're still keeping it under control. They got some kind of crazy plan that keeps the old people safe and lets the young people, get herd immunity and go on their happy ways. Because nobody really cares if a bunch of college kids gets it. They're like, yeah, well, you're stupid enough to go down and get it. Oh, well. And it's a tough thing, but, they're not going to change their opinion on that. And, the state's doing well. The economy's back. Florida's making money again. The people are happy. The COVID seems to still be going down. Everybody said after the first 2 weeks, COVID would be spiking, and it's not. So it's actually going. California is still going up, and Florida's still going down, and they got spring break going on. You figure it out.
Well, that's the thing. That's the big difference there, and this has been talked about even last year. Is that the importance of being outside in the sunshine and having exercise and seeing people will be a defining factor on how intense this virus and how much it goes on there. That's why Florida stayed open and that allowed things to happen. I think Texas was the same way. And certain states are like that. But the Democratic-run states where they locked things down and shut down businesses, you saw the rise in cases go up.
Oh, yeah. So figure that out because that's what was happening. People were grouping up together and staying grouped up and giving it to each other. And they would go to somebody's house and give it to them. Their little plans just weren't working. Down here, everybody was out and about. And since they were out and about, they were keeping their distance. They didn't have to be clustered up with everybody. But I don't know. It's a tough thing to deal with. You're talking about Christopher Reese. He's coming on. We're going to do a whole special on it. So it'll be 2.5 hours, I think is what it's set for. And it's in April. Hold on, I'll tell you when it is. It's April. Where the hell did April go? I think it's the third Friday in April. It'll be in this slot, yeah. But all it is just there'll be three different people talking about this. They got a local lawyer down here who does cases for different kind of medical things. He'll be on the show. We've got one of the reps from the Fed coming on, and then your boy who used to run I always want to call him the FAA, the ones that do the food. He used to be the assistant. Yeah, the FDA. He used to be the food director. He's going to come on. And that's what they're going to be talking about, COVID and what your rights are versus other things. And not just that, though, they're also going to be talking about other diseases that sometimes you get by accidental, just things you can catch from like accidental dirty needles and stuff allergic reactions. If you tell your doctor that you're allergic to something, they give you vaccination and it causes a reaction. What are your rights for that? Most rights for a lot of stuff are small claims kind of things, $30, $50, $80,000, as long as it don't do any major harm. If it does major harm, then it goes up. But then even that's protected under some things. It just depends what it is and what's attached to. And I think it has a lot to do who it's attached to, unfortunately.
I wonder, has there been have you guys heard of anybody that has been one of the psychic mediums that has talked to anybody or tarot card readers or something like that, has talked about the future of what's going up there with this virus or with the presidency of Biden, Harris, anything like that? Have you heard anything? I haven't heard anything on any media.
Nobody wants to even talk about Biden. He's going to go down as the most boring president in the history of the world, unless he just does something stupid. I don't know. I mean, I know China and Russia want to take advantage of this, but they're not sure how to do it because I think they know Biden's a dimwit, but part of them must be a little bit scared that he might do something stupid because he is a little, out there. With Trump, they knew Trump would. That's why they never challenged Trump. That's why North Korea stopped, because they knew Trump would do something.
He's always challenging the people to fights, man. He's like, "Come on, let's go outside. I'll kick your ass."
Well, Putin is still pissed. I was reading, I love Pravda because Pravda knows a lot of Americans go there, so it's easy to translate. And they were talking about it. They were talking about what the Chinese were saying about the meeting in Alaska, but the Russians were talking about Trump and Biden versus Trump and Biden. And they said at least Trump, they knew Trump. They said Trump was a lot like Putin, headstrong, egotistical, madman. Don't push him because he might do something crazy. They said what Biden is, they're scared because they don't know. See, Biden comes off one way, and then all of a sudden he's screaming and ranting and raving about something. He's like a madman on drugs or something. So it's really funny listening to Russians talk about our president, especially their media and stuff. And I mean, they weren't even really being hateful. They were just really kind of like, And one of their lead newscasters over there, he's like, well, he just seems to be a little off. He said, and you don't ever want the guy who's running the nuclear weapons, the most, and he said this, the most powerful arsenal in the world, to be off.
Getting drunk one night,
get fired,
getting smashed, and looking at that like F this world, and you hit all the buttons.
Wasn't that the whole point that Nancy Pelosi was trying to push there to get the nuclear codes away from Biden because they couldn't trust his mentality?
Well, they want to get Kamala in, and they talked about using the 25th Amendment, but the problem is I don't think the Republicans are going to go along with it. And I wouldn't trust her either.
I wouldn't trust her either, man.
She might nuke somebody just so she can say she's the first woman to nuke somebody. Yeah. Oh, well, guess what? Watch this. Ping. You said what, Mr. Ping? Guess what I'm going to do? Did you see that submarine just pop up on your coast? Wait for it. You'll hear it. Well, Ping doesn't exist anymore. The whole Communist Party's gone. Well, wasn't that a bitch? Caught him in session. That's one of the things that scares world leaders because it's a true statement. Right now, the U.S. has the ability, like if the whole Communist Party was meeting, we actually had the technology, we could kill them in under 15 minutes. They could never get out of the place in time that the nuke wouldn't kill them, especially if it's launched from a sub, because it would be below radar anyway. So the only way you would see it would be visually, and by the time somebody radared and found it and seen it, you were dead. It was over with. So it's kind of cool now. And then according to people who still say that the Star Wars system's fully intact, they may have other ways of killing them. I noticed recently there's been some exploding satellites. There's been a few of them lately.
Well, actually, that part that happened a couple of days ago that everybody was filming, I think it was like 2 days ago, went across the U.S., that was actually the top part of the rocket from the SpaceX that sort of got stuck in high orbit and that came down. It was supposed to come down in the beginning of March, and it came down 2 days ago, and everybody was filming it there. You got to understand that there's a lot of space junk that's floating around this Earth that's up there, and still rockets are going up. So,
when I first got in the other field I do, we still use JTrack for tracking and stuff, but back then there was, maybe 50, 100 objects in space. Then there was like 500. And a lot of it, people don't realize this, but J-Track tracks little bolts and shit in space. Wrenches and tools that were lost. They actually track all this stuff. They know where it's at. And they know when it's going to come down. And usually they have a pretty good idea. And now there is so much junk. If you were to pull up to this planet, it would look like Sanford and Son's junkyard wrapped around the planet. I mean, we need to go up there and clean it up. Maybe get
we need a space garbage truck, man.
We do, and launch that shit into the sun or go bury it on the moon. Or, I don't know, do something with it. It doesn't need to be there anymore.
Wasn't that the whole purpose of Space Force? They were all garbage men to go up there and with their little plastic bags and Swiffers and clean up.
Boy, the liberals have got to be pissed about Space Force now, and all the people who are making fun of Trump have got to be pissed because Biden kept it. Biden said, "Oh no, we're going to keep Space Force." Oh yeah, we ain't going nowhere.
This is funny. If anybody that's out there listening, go onto YouTube and look at the Space Force physical training requirements that they did. There's a video of what they had to do for their PT, which is sort of funny. They had like hobby horses that were about 3 feet off the ground. You had to do like quarter push-ups. It was just amazing. I think there was the first 6 that actually became Space Force personnel. It's pretty funny.
I didn't see because I know all the ones I've seen where some freaking admiral and some general got appointed, and then they started hiring people. I don't know who they've been hiring, and somehow they tied themselves in with NASA, the Navy, and the Air Force. I don't know what's going on with that either. And but from the real point of the whole thing was to build large craft and put them in space. And I don't think that's going to change. I think Biden's going to go along with that. They're going to probably keep it as hush-hush as they can. They're going to probably use Elon or one of the other guys to help them do it. But they want to develop large spacecraft, not small shit. They want shit that they can move around in the solar system, not have to be worried about getting smashed up. And if something came after them, it would at least have a fighting chance. We do have the technology to build these kind of things, but keeping it a secret is going to be tough. It's not impossible, mind you, because there are big, vast, empty parts of our planet. And of course, it could be built in space. If we start seeing a lot more launches going up, you'll know something's going on.
Well, they're going to be mining ships, man.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of
the
that.
whole idea of the far side of the moon project, right? That they were going to be building things on the far side of the moon, which would be of the casual viewer from Earth.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because actually, we're going to do a show on that probably in May, but there are so many projects underway. So 2 space hotels that I know of for sure. One that they want to complete by 2025. I don't know how the hell they're going to do that. They maybe if it's since it's going to be industry, they might be able to do it in 4 years. So we'll have to wait and see.
It'll be a Super 8, man.
China and Japan have gotten together and want to build a pleasure palace on the moon. That's what they called it. Yeah, a pleasure palace. That's what they call it. We're talking 2 big governments want to go do this. I'm not even going to wonder what the hell that's about.
Humans are so simple. So simple.
Yeah, weightless, semi-weightless sex, I guess. I don't know what it's going to be about, but we'll have to wait and see. But they also...
Wasn't that an episode on Star Trek where they went?
It might have been, man. Look, I don't want to say for sure, but it might have been. But there's a lot of this kind of stuff going on. We got a lot of missions scheduled.
Captain Kirk boinked his way to the whole freaking universe, man. You know what I mean? That was like his whole deal. Like, what kind of new girl can I
wonder how many legitimate alien babies he has.
Oh, yeah, like thousands.
Would be like Genghis Khan, most of his DNA is in the future.
It'll be good for the series. They can bring one of his legitimate sons or grandsons back in the future, and he could be the new Kirk.
It'd be Green,
Kirk the third.
That green chick, you know.
Oh shit, we're getting close on time.
Here comes the interesting part. You won't even have to go to space because with the VR technology they're going now, they'll just pump it into your brain to make you think that you are in space or you're on another planet.
Yeah, give them time. They probably will. Carly, what was that? Oh no, see, okay, I'm glad you said that, Carly, because a couple things, because Dell and I were talking about it. We just talking about all the different projects going to be going on. Well, Elon is an egomaniac, by the way. I love Elon. I like to go get high. And
man crushed on him.
So, hey, the man is great, but anyway, because he's going to be a god in his own way. I'm telling you what's going on with Elon. I'm predicting this ahead of time. So Elon wants to go to Mars. We all know that. He's going there. One way or another, Elon's going to Mars. So unless somebody kills him, he's going to Mars. He wants to establish a colony on Mars. His words. He got high that night. He's talking. So he was talking the truth. He just, you get a load, you get to talking and whatever's on your head. So he's just talking away. You could tell. And he starts talking about he wants to establish a colony on Mars and set up a new form of rules and regulations and government other than the kind we have here on Earth. So he's actually talking about colonizing Mars under a different government than anybody here. That's kind of breaking away and starting your own little world. So it's going to be Elon Musk world. Now, that could be a good thing. Of course, it could be a horrible thing like you've seen in James Bond or some other weird sci-fi movie. Oh, where, they break away from Earth, kill everybody. The problem for us is Elon's going to be worth probably about $1 trillion in about 20 years. So he'll actually have as much money as a country like Russia. So he can go up to Mars, go get a colony going for 20 years, and have the money to really develop super weapons. And this guy's pretty smart. So he might actually do it and say, you can't come to my planet. If you come here, we're going to blow your ass up. This is my planet. Stay the hell up. Invite only.
Can't come to my sandbox unless you.
That's right. Invite only, you damn stinky humans.
That was a part in the book by Robert A. Heinlein, The Stranger in a Strange Land, and it was all about the guy, first person that was born on Mars, and actually he becomes the sole, basically ruler of Mars, as in dealing with Earth governments and stuff like that. That was
I've seen a lot of old movies about Mars and colonizing Mars. Unfortunately, a lot of them are just really bad because they didn't, they weren't using masks and breathing apparatus or anything. So, one of my favorites is I had this conversation with Neil deGrasse Tyson. We were talking about how we could get on Mars and be able to move around Mars. It's going to take a while before it's going to have a breathable atmosphere, but it won't take that long to raise the pressure where you don't have to wear a suit. You can do that pretty quick in less than a decade. All you got to do is they call them earth crunching machines. All they do is go around and eat dirt and burn it and create carbon, which just sticks into the atmosphere, raises the pressure. So that'll also help keep in the other gases. But that'll help you get to a point where you can go out on the planet without any kind of gear except for a breathing mask. It'll help bring the temperatures up so the planet will be warmer. So you won't need all that heavy gear to work. And since Mars's gravity is 1/3 Earth, you're Superman. You're lifting up the front of the vehicle and dragging it along, changing the tire without needing a jack and shit like that. So, and you don't have to have stairs and any of your things because it's easy just to leap from floor to floor to floor. If they're like an 8-foot floor, you can easily go up. You just jump up to the next one, jump up to the next one. So it'll be a different kind of world for us. And most humans will need some kind of place where there's a 1G environment just from time to time, just to keep their body from totally, disintegrating. Or if you get your woman pregnant, she's going to need a place where she can keep that baby in a 1G environment so there's no mutations. So there's going to be a lot of weirdnesses going on, but it's going to be an interesting trip. And we're going. Unless we nuke ourselves off the planet, now we're going. We'll probably see at least the remnants of colony in our lifetimes. My kids and grandkids will probably see full-blown colonization of Mars, which is going to be less than 100 years. Because a lot of people went off the planet. A lot of my Gaia friends went off. A lot of my New Age friends went off. A lot of my cranky old bastard friends went off. They just went off. They're ready to go. They said, and somebody the other day said, well, if we're going to live in a stupid-ass country, I might as well go to Mars.
If all the assholes leave, there's no reason to go.
That's a good statement.
It'll be better on Mars. Everybody will want to go.
It'll be one big Martian happy family.
The dictator.
Elon will spray the domes with just special kind of dust, and everybody will be real happy all the time and happy. And
angel dust, they call it.
Be really productive. You'll be a really productive, really happy member of their society, and have lots of babies because Martians
Soylent Green. Soylent Green.
No, they won't eat
they're
their
already doing Soylent Green. There's that flavoring. Isn't it called Sensimed or something? And
what's interesting? I heard a biochemist talk about this. He said it would be better to use humans for fertilizer than for food because nutrition-wise, we kind of bite. He said, but for fertilizer, we're really good. He said, so you can really get a lot of good food out of an average human. He said, but humans ourselves, most humans are really high in cholesterol. So it's just not a good thing for the average person to be eating. And most humans, if they're over like 20, they're going to be tough and stringy and nasty anyway. So you have to stew them down and shit. Yeah. It's actually, Christopher, it's called long pig. Yeah. There's actually a name for it. Well, are we
talking about cannibalism again? Man, how come we always end up talking about cannibalism?
Because look at my friend.
I think because you're hungry.
Look,
Yo, how
see
you
my
think
friend
about
back there?
ribs?
You see
Some
my friend back there? Do you not
jambalaya?
see? Michael,
You don't know what's in jambalaya.
you know,
They
he's,
already
this
use
guy
it
was from New York, by
themselves,
the way,
and
man.
there's a flavoring they use it in. Believe it or not, it's disgusting.
It's, there's just a
Barbecue
lot of
sauce.
messed up things in the world. Christopher, no, I did not vote for Joe Biden. I didn't vote for Trump either, dude. So I can't really hate. I just think he's a cracker. I was listening to him. So I was reading the New York Times article about, oh my God, Joe Biden is the man. He's seasoned. We love him. Oh my God. I'm going, Jesus, dude, this guy's having an orgasm writing this article. I'm like, damn, dude, calm down here. This guy sucks, and you're going off like. And I've noticed now all of the people who used to let you put comments on their papers and stuff, or like Yahoo and all of them, took them away. They don't want you commenting anymore about any of their articles. Obviously, it was not good for business. I don't know. It's upsetting to me.
Okay,
Maybe
so I
Trump
just found the name of this stuff. It's aborted fetal cells. It's called Cinnamon. I swear to God to you, it's in a lot of foods.
I just meant nasty. It's not that I didn't believe you. I just meant it was.
Products. It's
You know, that's a show I want to tackle in the near future. Is embryonic stuff from babies, from aborted babies. What should be used? What should be used, or should any of it be used?
none of it should be. It's disgusting.
So well, because I mean, there's a lot of big advantages to it, but there's got to be another way.
It's called Cinemix.
Cinemix. Still, you've been using Cinemix. Is that why you're in the cage again? Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
I just had to go get myself another spoonful of it.
Oh.
No, what's sort of interesting about this, okay? This part about thinking about even if you're colonizing Mars and stuff like that, and to make it self-sufficient, you have to think about what are you going to bring there for wildlife and plant life that's going to be able to grow in that sort of atmosphere. How are like cows and dairy products going to be done? Like we got to think about. There's a lot more things involved than just having us sit there eating MREs the whole time. You have to
That's not the way they're going to do it is the cows are going to be in there with you, along with the plants and everything else.
Oh, good.
Well, cows. They're not going to have cows. They're going to have labs. They have labs. They're going to grow meat like they've been growing meat, man. They're going to do that type of stuff.
You might be right. They might grow meat because they started doing it on Earth about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe a little longer.
It's going to be all processed.
Elon and them said no because they want to bring. So they're talking about. Everybody keeps talking about surface colonies, but that's not what they're really talking about. Elon and them are talking about hollowing out Olympus Mons and building a huge ass city in there. And they're talking huge, like something that the size of Europe or something, because it's a big area.
They already got that going on in Earth. That's where they're doing all that testing already.
Yeah. Well, they're doing a lot of different things. So what they want to do is they want to bring everything there. They're gonna, in the beginning, it's just gonna be seeds and rice, and then you're gonna have to bring, because bringing fertilizer is gonna be tough. So they're gonna have to figure out ways to make it. They already know a lot of what they need for building certain things, bricks, cement, water, already on Mars. So they don't have to bring that stuff. But there is stuff they're going to have to bring that one's going to be dangerous to travel with, and two, it's going to be a lot of weight. But they're going to bring it.
It takes 60 gallons of water for 1 pound of meat in a cow's life. 60 gallons of water, 1 pound of meat. It takes 6 gallons of water for 1 pound of tofu, soy. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And they're going to do all of that, but you got to remember, with the cow, they're going to recycle that 60 pounds of water because it's going to come back out as urine and feces, and they're going to recycle that.
It doesn't sound very appetizing, man.
Yeah, well, you're not going to know because they're just going to recycle. They're not going around.
No, I'm not going to
cow pee, dude.
It doesn't matter to me. They could drink cow piss up there all day long. It ain't going to be me.
What do you mean? They're sending you first, dude. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm going to be right here.
I doubt, in all fairness,
they don't need me.
Anyone over 6 foot or 6'1" will even get to go.
They don't need me up there.
Space.
They don't need me up there.
You can bet your ass the first people going to Mars are going to be short people.
When all the people go, I'll be celebrating. I'll get a cabin in the woods and be happy, man. Laugh my ass off.
You know what's going to happen? All the really good people are going to go, and all the assholes are going to get left behind.
Good,
and then
because
give us all guns and flamethrowers, and we just go wipe out everybody on Earth.
I think it's the opposite, because the people that are going to go are going to be rich, man. They're the assholes. So the ones left behind will just be regular old people.
No, it's not going to be like that because rich people ain't going to help. So some of them will get to go, but you got to remember, colonization means you got to have brilliant people. you've got to have miners, you've got to have aquafor, you've got to have everybody from every walk of life, and you've got to have several of everybody.
You need laborers. They're gonna have
and
to
you
have,
need everyday laborers too. But you've got to basically bring every walk of life that's here to there. And you don't want even your laborers, you want the best laborers, you don't want the shitty ones. You're taking somebody to Mars, so they're going to make sure they're getting the brightest and the best. There ain't going to be no bullshit in the beginning. Now, after it's been there a while and we're just everyday colonists, and it's just a big, massive city like New York of twice the size, and then anybody's.
And then here comes the question here too. Then, okay, right? So we have this big, huge debate on Earth there about sexuality, male and female. Okay, so do you think that they're going to send a whole bunch of transgender people up there that can't procreate?
definitely.
Why? Transgender people can
Why not?
procreate. They just identify different. They can still have sex and have kids. Or sperm, either way. I mean, it's not like they can't have babies. So I mean, it might be a different circumstance, but I guarantee if they've got what's needed out there, they ain't gonna give a shit what sexuality there are they gonna send them. Because look, you're gonna have to have a special mindset to start off with to go to Mars, and you're gonna have to have a special set of skills. Because most people are. Mars is gonna be a different kind of lifestyle, especially in the beginning. It's gonna be harsh. You're gonna be indoors a lot. You think COVID was bad? Shit, wait till you sit in Olympus Mons for 2 years. And all you see is red dust flying around outside all the time.
Now,
That's
one
just
of
going
us
to go.
is healthy enough even to go into space. Maybe Dell, but that's it. Oh, you know what we're talking
What do you
about?
mean? I'm already signed
Going
up,
to
dude. I
Mars.
signed up.
You
I
ain't
signed up
going
like 7
anywhere,
years,
old man.
they
They're
want
gonna
me.
look at you.
They want me.
You're like,
They're
you're gonna die on the flight.
oh shit, dude. I'd be easy going. I'm good, hell, straightened up, man.
I don't want to go to space. I just want to go to camp.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't actually want to go to Mars. I just want to go to space. We can talk about Mars later on, but shooting up to space is nothing, man. You zip up there, zip back, have a good time.
We told you guys, you come up and visit camp, you're never going to want to leave. It's a
Yeah.
house.
What do you mean? Does it snow in Canada? Let me ask you this. Does it snow in Canada?
It is beautiful.
All right, then I'm leaving.
Different countries.
Y'all three can keep that damn snow. There is no snow down here, and I like it that way. I like it.
Actually, we did get hit with snow again. It was all gone, but it's almost gone again.
Yes, and it's March. You know what the temperature was here today? 80.
Nice.
80. Yeah, I know it was 80 and muggy and sticky and already it's sticky, man. I'm like, I was laughing. I came home today. I walked in the studio and I didn't have the AC on. I was like, Jesus, man. You could have took a steam shower in here. It's so sticky. It's weird right now, and for us, we're just getting ready to hit rainy, sticky season for the next 3 months.
Getting all ready for a bug season now.
Oh, we got gnat fever. You go outside at dusk or dawn, they just eat you
I
alive.
would deal with snow any day.
See that I can agree with because gnats. You know what? But you know what, Dal? Man, you love my backyard, dude. We got big redfish in there, big sheephead, big flounder. They got dolphin come up in there, man. Big birds. We got
like dolphins.
We got eagle, osprey, and hawks on the property.
And the otters.
Alligators and snakes.
And otters. We got otters too. Actually, no, it's we don't really see an alligator often because it's really salty on the end where I live. So because I'm really close to the Gulf, I'm like 200 yards from the Gulf, so it's really really salty on my end of the bayou. That's why the dolphin came up in here. But if you go up to bayou, some they do have alligators because it's closer you get to the Wolf River, the more fresh the water gets.
Got any bull sharks there sitting around in your river?
They not in the river, but they do catch them out off the shell of the Gulf, and they did catch a 400-pound tiger. 3 guys got a net. This some bitch was swimming along shore eating, and they got out there with a big ass seine net and caught him. Idiots! Lucky damn tiger to eat them for lunch, man.
I was just watching a show on this just the other day. Tractor found a bull shark that almost all the way up to Chicago.
Yeah, I have heard about him going upriver before. I have heard that. I've heard that a couple of times actually. I've heard a couple of different things.
The part that was written about the book is that the movie Jaws was actually based on these bull sharks that were traveling in country, and then they moved it to be in this town ocean.
Jaws was filmed about an hour from where I live.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the book was about originally it was about sharks that went up river systems, and then they changed it into about a coastal town.
A great white.
Yeah, Grand Isle, Louisiana. Poor town. Every damn hurricane goes along. Wipes the bitch out. I don't know why they keep filming it. Anyway, we got to go out and see Kathy's hitting us up. Guys and girls, we got to get out. I want to thank everybody joining us. Kathy Belsky's coming up next with Quantum Leap. She's not going to be on YouTube tonight because last I heard she was going to be discussing COVID in Israel. So
Good girl.
So she's brave, but unfortunately YouTube doesn't allow us to post that kind of stuff. They'll just throw her off. But anyway, we're going to get out of here. Everybody say bye. Del, Mike,
Bye.
Laura Lee.
But
Bye.
Thanks, for
They all love you, really, people. If y'all listening to us tonight, they all love you. And nice to see a lot of people came chat. Nice to see a lot of people reviewing tonight. It's nice to see those numbers up there. So, guys, again, remember you can catch us in all 8 venues, and we got the other 2 coming up soon. So, look for us. Get involved. Recommending new shows. Let me know. We are looking at some new shows. And if you're going to recommend the show, though, by the way, send along a link so I can hear their archives, or so I can post it.
Yeah, donate to UPRN. 75.
Yes, definitely donate because we want to buy something new this year. And I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but I will put it on
rocket
the
ship
page.
to Mars.
No. Elon already told me he was going to take me. I'm not worried about it. And Elon's going to have artificial gravity and stuff. So
That's why you're plugging Elon so much. He's packing.
Oh yeah, no, we already. I just can't even come on the show for some reason. I'm like, he said, oh look, dude. He says, I'll take Elon. You'd be useful on Mars, but come on my show. He's like, yeah, give me the bird. No. Actually, guys, in case anybody Elon's friends are listening, no, he didn't give me the bird.
And send your stories to the deliciousstories@gmail.com. Anything about this crazy, weird, unexplained, and stuff like that. Send them over there.
And I'm doing the same with the Angel Rock. You've got a question for the spirit, you got a question about chakras or anything like that, or strange occurrences, you can send them to the Angel Rock too.
Oh, and we're having an auction to auction off a date with Michael, so I'll put all the details up with that. Ladies, I'm telling you, men too, he swings both ways. So for the right amount of money, I'm telling you, he'll swing around the monkeys.
Just don't men. He's had enough of them. Right, Mike?
Yeah, no sex. I don't do sex. But I'll hang out with people for a price.
Anyway, we got to get out of here. Coming up next is Kathy Belsky with Quantum Leap.
Have a great weekend.
Stay tuned for that, guys. We'll see y'all on all of our regular times. I'll be back tomorrow with Michelle DeRoche on the Outer Realm, Lord. On Gray Zone Uncensored. We're actually going to be talking about quite a little things. We actually had one topic planned, but when we realized there was a holiday, it's not till next weekend, not this one. So tune in tomorrow and see what we're talking about. On that note, we are out of here. Good night and stay tuned for Miss Kathleen.
Bye.